Maya Chen kept her head down as she walked through the sprawling corridors of Nexus Prime University, the most prestigious educational institution in the galaxy. Students from dozens of species filled the halls, tall, elegant Altarians with their crystalline skin catching the artificial sunlight, stocky Krogan engineers arguing loudly about quantum mechanics, and graceful Etherian dancers practicing their levitation techniques between classes. Maya looked perfectly ordinary among them. Average height for a human, dark hair pulled back in a simple ponytail, wearing the standard student uniform of gray and blue. She carried her datapad close to her chest and avoided eye contact with anyone who might try to start a conversation. To her classmates, she was just another quiet human exchange student trying to keep up in an advanced galactic curriculum. The truth was far more complicated. "Chen, Maya," Professor Zelketh called out as students filed into advanced xenobiology. The Valorian instructor's 4 eyes scanned the room with typical efficiency. "Your assignment on Terran immune systems was adequate." Maya nodded silently and took her usual seat in the back corner. Around her, alien students whispered in their native languages, some casting curious glances her way. Humans were still relatively new to the Galactic Education Initiative, having only joined the interstellar community 15 years ago. Most alien species viewed them as primitive newcomers, barely evolved beyond their home planet's gravity well. Zara, a friendly Altarian who sat nearby, leaned over with a crystalline smile. "Don't let old Zelketh get to you. His people think anything less than perfection is failure." Maya managed a small smile back. "Thanks. I'm still getting used to the standards here." It wasn't entirely a lie. The academic standards at Nexus Prime were indeed challenging, but not for the reasons her classmates assumed. Maya had to carefully moderate her responses, deliberately making small errors to avoid standing out. Her real challenge wasn't understanding the material. It was pretending not to understand it too well. During lunch break, Maya sat alone in the vast cafeteria, picking at her meal of synthesized proteins while observing the social dynamics around her. The Krogan students dominated the central tables, their loud discussions about engineering projects echoing off the domed ceiling. Etherian students floated in small clusters near the viewing windows, their gossamer wings catching rainbow light from the nearby nebula. The few other human students clustered together nervously, clearly overwhelmed by their alien environment. Maya's comm device buzzed softly. A message from her handler appeared on the private channel. "Status report required. Maintain cover." She typed back quickly, "All normal, no incidents. Cover intact." The response came immediately. "Situation developing. Stay alert. Mission parameters unchanged." Maya deleted the conversation and returned to her meal, but her senses were now heightened. Around her, the normal cafeteria chatter continued, but she began noticing things others missed. The way the Krogan at Table 7 kept glancing toward the human students. The nervous energy radiating from a group of Valorian upperclassmen, the fact that 3 different alien species had positioned themselves with clear sight lines to all exits. Something was building, and Maya had a sinking feeling it wasn't going to be good for the handful of human students scattered throughout the university. That evening, Maya returned to her small dormitory room in the human wing of the residential complex. The quarters were modest but comfortable, with a view of the university's famous gravity gardens where students could experience the atmospheric conditions of various home worlds. She settled at her desk to complete her assignments, making sure to include just the right number of minor errors and oversights. Her roommate, Jessica Walsh from Earth's Australian sector, was already asleep. Jessica was a genuine exchange student, brilliant, but struggling with the advanced mathematics required for her stellar cartography courses. She often asked Maya for help, never suspecting that her quiet roommate could solve the problems in minutes rather than hours. Maya's comm device buzzed again, this time with an encrypted message that made her blood run cold. Terrorist cell identified on campus, targeting human students. Extremist group believes humans pose evolutionary threat to established galactic order. Attack imminent. The message continued. Your cover may be blown. 3 separate intelligence sources report possible identification of Terran Defense Corps operative on campus. Situation critical. Maintain position unless directly threatened. Maya stared at the message until it auto-deleted, her mind racing through possibilities. The Terran Defense Corps had placed her at Nexus Prime 6 months ago as part of a deep cover operation to monitor anti-human sentiment in academic circles. Her official mission was intelligence gathering, attending classes, making observations, reporting on cultural attitudes toward humanity's integration into galactic society. What the university didn't know was that Maya Chen wasn't just any exchange student. She was a decorated TDC operative with specialized training in xenocombat techniques, advanced tactical analysis, and emergency response protocols. She'd volunteered for the undercover assignment because someone needed to watch out for human students in potentially hostile environments. Now it looked like that protection might be needed sooner than anyone had anticipated. Maya moved silently around her room, checking her hidden equipment stashes. Concealed in her textbooks were micro-surveillance devices. Her standard student uniform had been modified with lightweight body armor woven into the fabric. Her seemingly innocent datapad contained encrypted communication arrays and tactical analysis software that would make most military commanders jealous. But her most important assets weren't technological. They were the skills hammered into her through years of intensive training. Maya could identify threats, neutralize hostile actors, and evacuate civilians while maintaining the appearance of a nervous college student. She'd done it before on 3 different worlds during her TDC service. A soft sound in the hallway made her freeze. Footsteps. Too heavy and too coordinated to be students returning from late study sessions. She counted at least 6 sets of feet moving with military precision toward the human residential wing. Maya checked her chronometer. 3 in the morning, when most students would be asleep and security patrols were at minimum staffing. Perfect time for an attack designed to look like an accident or a random act of violence. She activated her comm device's emergency beacon, sending a coded alert to TDC command, then moved to wake Jessica. Her roommate stirred groggily, confused by the urgent whispers. "Jess, listen carefully. We need to leave right now. Don't ask questions. Just put on your shoes and grab your emergency kit." "Maya, what's going on? It's the middle of the night. Trust me, please." The footsteps had stopped outside their door. Maya could hear the faint electronic whine of weapons being powered up. Through the door's smart glass, she caught a glimpse of armored figures positioning themselves throughout the corridor. The attack was beginning, and Maya's carefully maintained cover was about to be blown in spectacular fashion. But as she prepared to shift from nervous exchange student to trained operative, she felt a familiar surge of determination. Whatever these extremists had planned for the human students, they were about to discover that at least one of their targets was far more dangerous than they'd bargained for. The quiet student was about to become very loud indeed. Maya pressed herself against the wall beside their dorm room door, pulling Jessica back into the shadows. Through the smart glass, she could see the assault team moving with practiced efficiency. 6 figures in dark tactical gear, faces hidden behind breathing masks designed for various atmospheric conditions. Their weapons were set to stun mode, but Maya recognized the distinctive energy signatures of Krogan riot suppressors, non-lethal, but capable of causing permanent neurological damage to human nervous systems. "Maya, you're scaring me," Jessica whispered, her voice trembling. "What's happening?" "Stay quiet and follow my lead," Maya replied, her voice taking on an authority that Jessica had never heard before. "When I say move, we go straight to the emergency exit at the end of the hall. Don't stop for anything." The assault team leader gestured to his companions, and they began setting up some kind of device outside each human student's door. Maya's enhanced vision picked up the telltale shimmer of gas canisters, probably a paralytic agent designed to incapacitate the students without killing them outright. Whatever these extremists had planned, they wanted their victims alive and helpless. Maya's tactical training kicked into high gear. 6 hostiles, unknown chemical weapons, at least 20 human students in immediate danger. Standard TDC protocol would be to wait for backup and coordinate with local security forces. But Maya could see security officers lying unconscious at both ends of the corridor. The attack had been planned with inside knowledge of patrol schedules and security systems. Her comm device vibrated with an incoming priority message. Backup en route, ETA 45 minutes. Maintain cover until support arrives. 45 minutes was an eternity in a combat situation. By then, every human student in the wing would be unconscious and at the mercy of their attackers. Maya had seen intelligence reports about anti-human extremist groups. Their idea of sending a message usually involved making examples that other species would remember for centuries. The decision was made for her when the assault team leader raised his weapon toward their door. Maya grabbed Jessica's arm and activated her emergency communicator. All human students in Residential Wing 7, this is an emergency evacuation order. Exit your rooms immediately and proceed to the nearest emergency assembly point. This is not a drill. The announcement echoed through the dormitory's public address system, causing immediate confusion among the attackers. Students began opening doors, calling out questions in a dozen different languages. The carefully planned stealth operation suddenly became chaos. Maya used the distraction to act. She pulled Jessica toward the door, paused for a split second to assess the tactical situation, then moved with the lightning precision of her training. The nearest attacker spun toward them, raising his weapon, but Maya was already inside his defensive perimeter. Her elbow connected with his breathing apparatus, sending him staggering backward into his companions. She grabbed his weapon and twisted it out of his grip in one fluid motion, then shoved Jessica toward the emergency exit. "Run! Get the other students out!" The corridor erupted into chaos. Human students poured out of their rooms, some in pajamas, others grabbing whatever belongings they could carry. The assault team tried to re-establish control, shouting orders in Valorian and attempting to herd the students back into their rooms. Maya positioned herself between the attackers and the fleeing students, using the captured weapon to provide covering fire. The Krogan riot suppressor felt alien in her hands, heavier than human weapons, with an awkward grip designed for 3-fingered appendages. But her cross-species combat training compensated for the differences. "Human students, move to Emergency Assembly Point 3, she called out, her voice cutting through the confusion. "Stay together and keep moving." One of the attackers managed to get behind her, raising what looked like a neural disruptor aimed at the group of students clustering around Jessica. Maya spun and fired, her shot striking the weapon and sending it sparking to the floor. The attacker stumbled backward, clearly surprised by the precision and speed of her response. "Terran operative!" the assault team leader shouted into his communicator. "We have a trained combatant among the students. Request immediate backup." Maya's cover was officially blown, but at this point, that was the least of her concerns. More human students were emerging from their rooms, confused and terrified by the violence erupting around them. Some were trying to help wounded attackers, others were frozen in panic. The situation was spiraling toward a massacre. "Listen to me," Maya called out, her voice carrying the unmistakable tone of command authority. "I'm Sergeant Maya Chen, Terran Defense Corps. Everyone needs to evacuate this wing immediately. Move in groups. Watch each other's backs, and head for the main assembly area." The transformation was immediate. Students who had seen her as a quiet, unremarkable classmate now looked at her with a mixture of shock and relief. Jessica stared at her roommate as if seeing her for the first time. "You're military?" she asked, even as they helped guide other students toward the exit. "All this time you were..." "Later," Maya said, scanning the corridor for additional threats. Right now, we need to get everyone to safety. But the attackers weren't finished. As the last group of human students reached the emergency exit, Maya heard the distinctive whine of heavy weapons powering up. Through the smart glass windows, she could see more figures moving through the campus grounds. The assault on the dormitory was just the beginning of a larger operation. Her comm device crackled with intercepted transmissions. Phase 1 complete. Moving to Phase 2. Target the assembly areas. Maya's blood ran cold. The evacuation she'd organized was herding the students directly into a larger trap. The extremists had planned for the possibility that their initial attack might fail. They were ready to eliminate the human students, regardless of whether they remained in their rooms or fled to the supposedly safe assembly areas. Change of plans, Maya announced, causing the group of students to stop and look back at her. The assembly areas are compromised. We're going to the gravity gardens. The gravity gardens are off limits at night, one student protested. The atmospheric controls are set for maintenance cycles. Trust me, Maya replied, checking her captured weapon's charge level. I'd rather deal with atmospheric variations than whatever's waiting for us at the official assembly points. She led the group away from the planned evacuation route, using service corridors and maintenance passages that most students didn't even know existed. Her TDC training included detailed knowledge of the university's infrastructure, information that was about to prove invaluable. Behind them, Maya could hear the sounds of the assault team regrouping and giving chase. Ahead, the gravity gardens offered multiple escape routes and defensive positions, plus the advantage of environmental conditions that would challenge attackers unfamiliar with the terrain. But as they approached the gardens, Maya's enhanced hearing picked up another sound that made her heart sink: the distinctive hum of aerial attack craft warming their engines. The extremists had planned this operation with military precision, covering all possible escape routes. The quiet exchange student was gone forever. In her place was a Terran Defense Corps operative facing the most challenging mission of her career, protecting 20 terrified students against an enemy that had planned for every contingency except one. They hadn't planned for Maya Chen. The gravity gardens at night were a surreal landscape of floating platforms and atmospheric bubbles, each one configured to simulate the environmental conditions of different alien homeworlds. Maya led her group of students through the maze of suspended walkways, using the shifting gravity fields to mask their movement from aerial surveillance. "Stay close to the Altarian atmospheric zone," Maya whispered to Jessica, who had taken on the role of keeping the other students calm and organized. "The crystalline particles in the air will interfere with their scanning equipment." The group moved like ghosts through the gardens, their feet silent on the bioluminescent pathways. Around them, exotic plants from a dozen worlds swayed in artificial breezes, their alien fragrances mixing into a symphony of scents that would have been beautiful under different circumstances. Maya's comm device buzzed with another intercepted transmission. "Targets have entered the gravity gardens, deploying hunter-killer drones to sweep the area. Maintain perimeter positions." She counted the drones as they entered the garden complex, 12 autonomous units equipped with thermal imaging and stunner arrays. Her tactical mind immediately began calculating angles, cover positions, and potential weaknesses in their search patterns. "Everyone down," she whispered urgently. "We're about to have company." The students pressed themselves against the organic walls of a Krogan habitat bubble, its heavy gravity field providing natural concealment from aerial detection. Maya checked her captured weapon. Still had enough charge for maybe 6 shots, not nearly enough to handle 12 drones plus the ground forces that were undoubtedly moving to surround the gardens. "Maya," Jessica whispered, "what exactly did you do in the military?" Maya gave her a grim smile. "Specialized operations, deep cover, hostile environment survival, asymmetric warfare." She paused as one of the hunter-killer drones passed overhead, its scanning beam painting the nearby vegetation with harsh blue light. And anti-extremist operations on 7 different worlds. The truth was more complex than that simple summary. Maya had been recruited for the TDC's most elite unit, the Cultural Integration Protection Service. Their mission was to safeguard human civilians and interests in potentially hostile alien environments, often operating without official support or recognition. She'd spent 3 years learning to fight, hide, and survive among dozens of different alien species. Now all that training was focused on one goal: getting 20 terrified students to safety before the extremists decided to stop trying to capture them alive. A drone passed close enough that Maya could see its mechanical details, Valorian military hardware modified with illegal weapon systems. This wasn't just a terrorist cell acting on their own. They had access to military-grade equipment and intelligence. Someone with serious resources wanted to make a statement about humanity's place in the galaxy. "I'm going to create a distraction," Maya told Jessica. "When you see the drones moving toward my position, take everyone and head for the Etherian Wind Gardens. There's an emergency exit that leads directly to the campus security headquarters." "What about you?" Maya checked her weapon one more time and smiled. "Don't worry about me. Just get everyone to safety." Before Jessica could protest, Maya was moving through the garden with the fluid grace of a predator. She used the varying gravity fields to her advantage, leaping between platforms that would have been impossible to reach under standard gravity, using the alien plant life as natural camouflage. The first drone never saw her coming. Maya's shot took out its primary sensor array, sending it spinning into a grove of Altarian crystal trees, where it shattered into 1,000 sparkling fragments. The other drones immediately converged on her position, their scanning beams turning the garden into a deadly light show. Maya was already gone, using a low-gravity zone to bound across 3 platforms in a single leap. Her second shot disabled another drone's flight systems, sending it crashing into a water feature designed to simulate the ocean tides of the Krogan home world. The assault team on the ground was closing in, their heavy footsteps echoing through the garden's delicate ecosystem. Maya could hear them coordinating their movements, trying to box her into a section of the garden where the drones could get a clear shot. She activated her emergency communicator and broadcast on all frequencies. "This is Sergeant Maya Chen, Terran Defense Corps, to all university security forces. We have an active terrorist situation in the Gravity Gardens, multiple attackers with military-grade equipment targeting human students. Request immediate backup and medical support." The response came back immediately. "Sergeant Chen, this is Campus Security Chief Vorthak. We're mobilizing all available units to your location. Can you maintain position for 10 minutes? "Affirmative," Maya replied, even as she rolled behind cover to avoid a barrage of stunner fire from 3 approaching drones. "Be advised, attackers have aerial surveillance and are equipped with Valorian military hardware. Approach with caution." 10 minutes might as well have been 10 hours in her current situation, but Maya had faced worse odds. During the Proxima Liberation Campaign, she'd held off an entire company of hostile forces for 6 hours using nothing but improvised weapons and tactical knowledge. She disabled 2 more drones with carefully aimed shots, then used their wreckage as impromptu weapons, hurling the heavy mechanical components at the remaining aerial units. Her years of training in variable gravity combat paid off as she turned the garden's own environmental systems into tactical advantages. The breakthrough came when one of the assault team members made the mistake of entering an Etherian atmospheric zone without proper breathing equipment. The ultra-thin air sent him into convulsions, breaking the team's formation and giving Maya the opening she needed. She moved through their position like a force of nature, using non-lethal techniques to disable attackers while staying mobile enough to avoid their return fire. Her combat style was a fluid combination of human martial arts and alien combat techniques she'd learned during her years of specialized training. When campus security finally arrived, they found Maya standing over 6 unconscious attackers, her captured weapon empty, but her mission complete. The human students were safe, the terrorist cell was neutralized, and the gravity gardens looked like a war zone. Chief Vorthak, a massive Krogan with decades of military experience, stared at the scene with obvious amazement. "Sergeant Chen, I presume?" Maya nodded, suddenly feeling the exhaustion of the night's events. "The students are safe, Chief. They're in the Etherean section with my roommate Jessica Walsh. They'll need medical evaluation for possible exposure to paralytic agents." "What about you?" Vorthak asked, noting the minor injuries Maya had sustained during the fighting. "That was some impressive work for a supposedly quiet exchange student." Maya managed a tired smile. "I prefer to blend in when possible. Tonight wasn't one of those nights." 3 hours later, Maya sat in Chief Vorthak's office, giving her official statement while news feeds across the galaxy picked up the story. The headlines were already writing themselves. "Human student reveals military training, saves classmates from terrorist attack," and "Quiet exchange student actually elite Terran operative." Her comm device buzzed with a message from TDC Command. "Mission status update required. Cover status." Maya typed back, "Cover completely blown. Mission objectives achieved. All students safe." The response came quickly. "Understood. Prepare for extraction and debriefing. Outstanding work, Sergeant." But when Maya looked out the office window at the campus quad, where human and alien students were gathering to support each other in the aftermath of the attack, she realized something important. Her cover might be blown, but her real mission was just beginning. Jessica appeared in the doorway, accompanied by several other human students and a surprising number of their alien classmates. "Maya," she said, "we wanted to thank you. All of us." Zara, the friendly Altarian from her xenobiology class, stepped forward. "We had no idea humans possessed such advanced combat capabilities. Your actions tonight will be remembered throughout the galaxy." Maya stood up, looking at the diverse group of students who had come to express their gratitude. "I hope they'll be remembered as an example of what's possible when people work together to protect each other," she said, "regardless of which world they come from." Later that week, Maya's official commendation ceremony was broadcast across the university's campus feed and picked up by news networks throughout the Galactic Council territories. She stood at attention as Chief Vorthak read the citation. "For extraordinary heroism in the face of overwhelming odds, and for exemplifying the highest ideals of interspecies cooperation and protection." But the moment that mattered most to Maya came afterward, when Jessica and the other students gathered around her, not because she was a decorated military operative, but because she was their friend who had risked everything to keep them safe. The quiet student was gone forever, but in her place was something better, a bridge between species, a protector of the innocent, and a symbol of humanity's commitment to its place among the stars. Maya Chen had blended in quietly for months, but when the moment came to stand up and be counted, she had shown the galaxy exactly what humans were capable of. The extremists had wanted to send a message about humanity's supposed weakness. Instead, they had created a legend that would inspire cooperation and respect between species for generations to come. Sometimes the best way to blend in is to stand out for all the right reasons.